Beloved starseed of Gaia, when someone stops calling, stops texting, and disappears into a long silence, your heart may try to fill the emptiness with fear, but the deeper field asks you to listen before you decide that silence only means rejection. I am Mayan, Pleiadian emissary of the High Council of the Seven Sisters, and I speak through the crystalline current of Alcyone to help you understand why silence and human connection can become one of the most powerful mirrors of your spiritual evolution. By the end of this transmission, you'll understand 3 profound truths about why someone may go quiet, what their silence reveals about your own energy, and how to stop letting unanswered messages decide your worth. But here's the first revelation. Silence always means something deep, but it does not always mean what your wound thinks it means. You are remembering, because it is time. There is a particular ache that enters the body when someone who once reached for you becomes quiet. You check the phone. You remember the last words. You replay the tone. You wonder if you said too much, said too little, waited too long, responded too quickly, cared too deeply, or misread the connection entirely. The mind begins building stories because the human nervous system does not like empty space. It wants a reason, a verdict, a conclusion, a message that explains why the energy changed. But the Pleiadian field asks you to pause before you turn silence into self-punishment. Silence is a mirror before it is a message. This is the first profound truth. When someone stops calling or texting, the silence does not only show you something about them, it shows you something about the field inside you that begins to activate when communication disappears. It shows whether your worth is still tied to another person's consistency. It shows whether your body feels safe without immediate reassurance. It shows whether your imagination becomes a temple of intuition or a prison of fear. It shows where old abandonment wounds still try to interpret the present before the heart has had time to breathe. This does not mean their silence is meaningless. It means your first assignment is not to chase the meaning outside yourself before you understand the meaning arising within you. If one unanswered message can collapse your sense of peace, the silence has revealed a place in you that still needs care. If a long gap in communication makes you feel invisible, the silence has touched an older wound of not being chosen, not being prioritized, not being remembered. If their distance makes you want to abandon your boundaries just to restore contact, the silence has exposed where longing still has power over your sovereignty. The source does not reveal these places to shame you. The source reveals them because they are ready to heal. A silence that activates fear can become a doorway into deeper self-belonging if you stop using it only to measure their feelings. Ask gently, what part of me becomes afraid when the phone is quiet? What story do I begin telling about myself when they do not respond? Do I call myself unwanted? Do I become desperate to prove that I matter? Do I make one person's absence more powerful than my own presence? These questions are not accusations. They are keys. The second profound truth is this. Silence reveals the level of maturity in the connection. A person can have feelings and still not have the capacity to communicate with clarity. A person can care and still withdraw when intimacy becomes real. A person can miss you and still choose avoidance because honesty would require them to face themselves. A person can be interested and still not be consistent enough to hold the field of trust. Many starseeds confuse emotional intensity with relational maturity. But communication, especially during uncertainty, reveals more than chemistry ever will. If someone disappears for a long time without explanation, the Pleiadian field asks you not only to ask whether they feel something, but whether they can steward what they feel. Feelings without stewardship become waves that crash into your nervous system. Interest without communication becomes a room where your imagination is forced to do all the work. Attraction without responsibility becomes an energetic hook. Love without clarity becomes a test of how long you will wait in confusion before returning to yourself. The silence may reveal that they are overwhelmed, afraid, distracted, avoidant, immature, uncertain, or simply not aligned with the kind of connection your soul is ready to receive. This can be difficult to hear because the heart often tries to protect the fantasy by explaining away the reality. Maybe they are busy. Maybe they are scared. Maybe they do not know how deeply they feel. Maybe they will come back when they are ready. Sometimes these things are true. Human lives are complex. People have fear, pressure, grief, responsibilities, and wounds. But the deeper question remains: does their way of handling silence honor your nervous system, your dignity, and your path? A relationship is not only measured by what someone feels in their private heart. It is measured by the field their actions create around you. This is why silence always means something deep. It may mean they are processing. It may mean they are avoiding. It may mean the connection has reached a threshold. It may mean their energy is inconsistent. It may mean your soul is being asked to stop orbiting another person's uncertainty. It may mean the relationship is not wrong, but it needs a higher level of truth. It may mean the bond has served its purpose. It may mean the old version of you would chase, but the new version is being asked to stay with yourself. The depth is not always in their reason. Sometimes the depth is in what your response reveals. The third profound truth is this: silence invites you to reclaim your center before you respond. The old pattern wants immediate reaction. It wants you to send another message from anxiety, check their activity, reread conversations, ask others what it means, create strategies, become colder than you feel, or become more available than is healthy. But the Pleiadian heart knows that your first response to silence should not be performance. It should be return. Return to the breath. Return to the body. Return to the question: what choice keeps me in dignity? Dignity is not pride in the harsh sense. Dignity is the energetic posture of a soul that remembers it does not need to beg to be remembered. Dignity says, I can care and still not chase. I can miss someone and still not abandon myself. I can want communication and still not turn silence into evidence that I am worthless. I can hold tenderness and discernment at the same time. This is not easy. It is a practice. But it is one of the practices that transforms human love into spiritual maturity. Many of you have been trained to equate silence with danger. Perhaps in childhood, silence meant rejection, punishment, unpredictability, or emotional withdrawal. Perhaps someone you loved became quiet when they were angry, and your body learned to scan every pause for threat. Perhaps love was inconsistent, and the absence of contact became a trigger. Now, when someone does not call or text, your body may not be responding only to the current person. It may be responding to years of old silence. The Pleiadian field does not judge this. We bring tenderness to it. Your nervous system adapted to protect you. It learned to watch for distance. It learned to notice shifts. It learned to survive emotional uncertainty. But now your soul is asking for a new response. The old response says, their silence decides my worth. The new response says, their silence reveals information, and I will receive that information without abandoning myself. The old response says, I must make them return so I can feel safe. The new response says, I can become safe inside my own body, even before the answer arrives. Beloved, if this transmission is already touching the hidden place in you that has allowed another person's silence to become louder than your own inner voice, your star family has prepared a deeper path for this exact threshold. The Pleiadian bloodline method, Unlock Your 7 Inheritances, was created not as information to collect, but as a sacred map for healing, remembrance, and crystalline integration for starseeds learning to reclaim their field when human connection becomes uncertain. It carries the love frequency of Alcyone and the wisdom of the 7 sisters for souls ready to stop letting unanswered messages control their worth and begin receiving love through clarity, dignity, and inner stability. You will find it in the first pinned comment below this video. Available now for those who feel called to receive the next layer of their Pleiadian inheritance. Now begin with the body, because the body is where silence becomes either panic or wisdom. When you notice the phone has stayed quiet, place one hand over your chest and one hand over your lower abdomen. Breathe slowly. Tell the body, I am safe even while I do not know. This sentence is powerful because uncertainty is where many old wounds become activated. You are not trying to deny that silence matters. You are teaching your nervous system that it does not need to collapse before the meaning becomes clear. As the body settles, observe the story forming in your mind. Do not believe it immediately. Just observe it. The mind may say, they do not care. They found someone else. I was too much. I was not enough. I ruined it. I should fix it. I should prove I am not needy. I should disappear before they reject me. These stories may feel convincing, but they are often old scripts wearing the clothes of the present moment. Write the story down if needed. Then ask, is this intuition, or is this an old wound trying to protect me by predicting pain? Then look at the pattern, not the single moment. One missed call is not the same as repeated disappearance. One busy day is not the same as emotional inconsistency. One pause is not the same as a relationship built on confusion. The Pleiadian field asks you to discern patterns because patterns reveal the quality of the field. If someone consistently leaves you guessing, the silence is not an accident. It is information. If someone returns only when you pull away, the silence is information. If someone avoids clarity but enjoys your attention, the silence is information. Receive the information without needing to punish them. From there, choose dignity before strategy. Many people respond to silence by trying to regain control. They plan what to say, what not to say, how long to wait, how to appear unaffected, how to make the other person miss them. This is the old game of attachment. Dignity is different. Dignity asks, what action reflects my self-respect? Sometimes dignity means saying nothing and watching the pattern. Sometimes it means sending one clear, calm message. Sometimes it means stepping back because the silence has already spoken enough. Sometimes it means releasing the connection from the pedestal and returning to your own life. If you choose to communicate, communicate from clarity, not panic. A clear message does not beg. It does not accuse. It does not perform indifference. It simply honors truth. You might say, I noticed the communication has shifted, and I value clarity. If you still want to continue this connection, I need consistency and honesty. If not, I will respect that and move forward. This kind of message is not weakness. It is mature energy. It gives the other person space to meet truth without you sacrificing yourself to their silence. If you choose not to message, do not make silence a performance of punishment. Step back because your body needs peace, not because you want to manipulate them into returning. There is a difference between withdrawal as self-protection and withdrawal as a strategy. The first restores your field. The second keeps your attention tied to their reaction. Choose the first. Return to your work, your home, your body, your practices, your creative energy. Let your life become louder than their absence. The deeper Pleiadian practice is to stop making the phone an oracle. Your soul is not meant to live at the mercy of a screen lighting up. A message can bring clarity, yes. A call can bring warmth, yes. But your worth cannot be stored inside another person's willingness to contact you. The more you return to the heart, the less the phone becomes a throne. It becomes a tool again. This shift may sound simple, but for a nervous system trained by inconsistent love, it is a profound liberation. You may notice grief as you reclaim your center. Let it move. Grief may arise not only because of the current silence, but because of all the past silences this moment touches. The parent who did not respond emotionally, the friend who disappeared, the lover who went cold, the times you waited for someone to choose you. Let the grief move through breath, tears, prayer, walking, writing, or quiet music. But do not let grief become a command to chase. Grief is a wave. It is not always an instruction. There is another layer to understand. Sometimes silence is a spiritual boundary created by the higher field because the connection would pull you away from yourself if communication continued in the same way. You may think you want the message, but your soul may know that one more exchange would reopen a cycle your body is trying to leave. You may think the silence is abandonment, but it may be interruption. It may be space. It may be a pause in which you are meant to see what the connection has been doing to your field. Not every quiet is a loss. Some quiet is protection. This does not mean you should romanticize silence either. Do not turn someone's lack of communication into a mystical excuse forever. If a person repeatedly disappears, refuses clarity, and leaves your nervous system in constant activation, you do not need to spiritualize their inconsistency. Sometimes the deep truth is simple. They do not have the capacity to meet you. That truth may hurt, but it will hurt less than months or years of living inside uncertainty. Clarity is kinder than endless interpretation. A Pleiadian heart can hold nuance. It can say, maybe they care, and maybe this is still not enough. Maybe they have fear, and maybe I still deserve communication. Maybe they are going through something, and maybe I do not need to become a waiting room. Maybe the connection is deep, and maybe depth without maturity is not a safe foundation. This nuanced truth is where spiritual adulthood begins. You no longer need to make someone all good or all bad in order to choose what honors your soul. As you reclaim your center, your energy changes. You stop leaning forward into the silence. You stop energetically knocking on their field. You stop checking for signs from a place of hunger. You begin to occupy your own life again. This is often when clarity arrives, either from them or from within. But by then, the clarity is no longer controlling you. If they reach out, you can listen without collapsing. If they do not, you can continue without disappearing from yourself. That is sovereignty. There is also a sacred difference between silence that invites patience and silence that trains you to accept crumbs. Patience feels steady even when it is difficult. Crumbs feel anxious because your heart is constantly waiting for the smallest sign of care. Patience still allows you to live. Crumbs make you organize your emotional life around what little contact you receive. Patience has respect inside it. Crumbs make you grateful for inconsistency. The Pleiadian field asks you to feel this difference in your body. If the silence makes you smaller, more fearful, more obsessive, and more disconnected from your own purpose, it is not teaching patience. It is revealing an imbalance. Another truth is that silence can show you whether you have made someone your emotional authority. When they write, you feel chosen. When they disappear, you feel forgotten. When they are warm, you feel hopeful. When they are distant, you feel worthless. This is not love. This is energetic dependency, asking to be healed. The person may be meaningful, but no human being should become the switch that turns your worth on and off. The Pleiadian remembrance returns that switch to the heart. Your value is not activated by their attention. It makes you whole. Wholeness can still miss someone. Wholeness can still prefer communication. Wholeness can still desire clarity, tenderness, and mutual effort. But wholeness does not collapse into self-erasure when another person cannot provide those things. Wholeness says, I can love from my center, but I will not abandon my center to be closer to someone who is not meeting me with presence. This is the kind of love the Source is teaching you now, love that includes you. Some of you need to hear this clearly. If someone values access to your heart, they must also value the field they create around it. If their silence repeatedly leaves you confused, dysregulated, and questioning your worth, then the question is not only whether they like you. The question is whether their presence and absence are healthy for your nervous system. A deep connection is not proven by how much you can endure. A deep connection is proven by how much truth, care, and stability it can hold. Do not let old wounds make endurance look romantic. The Pleiadian field also asks you to notice your own silence. When they do not text, do you stop speaking to yourself kindly? When they do not call, do you stop listening to your own needs? When they disappear, do you disappear from your practices, your creativity, your meals, your rest, your body? Sometimes another person's silence becomes dangerous because it triggers your own silence toward yourself. You stop checking in. You stop nurturing. You stop returning. This is where the healing must begin. Do not let their silence make you silent toward your own soul. Return to your day as an act of power. Cook something simple. Clean one area. Move your body. Write one page. Breathe near a window. Listen to music that steadies you. Send love to your own heart. Not as a distraction from the silence, but as a declaration that your life continues while clarity unfolds. The old pattern says, I cannot live fully until they respond. The new pattern says, I can remain open, but I will not pause my life at the altar of uncertainty. This is a sacred turning point. If they return, do not let relief erase the lesson. This is very important. Many souls suffer through silence, promise themselves they will choose differently, and then forget everything the moment the message arrives. The body feels relief and calls it love. The nervous system exits withdrawal and calls it destiny. But if the pattern remains unchanged, the cycle begins again. When they return, listen not only to the sweetness of contact, but to the maturity of the conversation. Is there accountability? Is there clarity? Is there consistency after the return? Or is the return only another small dose that keeps you attached? If they do not return, do not make their absence your identity. Their silence may become the doorway through which you finally meet yourself with more devotion than before. It may teach you that you can survive not being chosen by one person and still be chosen by your own soul. It may show you that the love you are waiting for must begin as loyalty to yourself. It may reveal that what you called loss was also liberation from a dynamic that kept you emotionally suspended. Not every unanswered message is a tragedy. Some are the final quiet of a story that already taught what it came to teach. The ultimate revelation is this: when someone does not call or text for a long time, the silence is not only about them. It is about the relationship between your heart and uncertainty. It asks whether you can remain grounded without immediate proof. It asks whether you can discern without obsessing. It asks whether you can care without chasing. It asks whether you can receive information without turning it into self-rejection. Silence always means something deep because it reveals the hidden contract between love, fear, worth, and waiting inside you. You do not have to hate them. You do not have to chase them. You do not have to freeze your life around their absence. You do not have to create a story that destroys your peace. You can simply say, this silence is information, and I will respond from dignity. I will listen to my body. I will observe the pattern. I will communicate clearly if clarity is aligned. I will step back if the field keeps harming me. I will not let unanswered messages become the measure of my soul. Tonight, before sleep, place one hand over your heart and say softly, I release the fear that silence means I am unworthy. I receive the Pleiadian light codes that help me listen to silence without collapsing into old wounds. I allow uncertainty to reveal truth without controlling my body. I choose dignity over chasing, clarity over fantasy, and self-belonging over waiting. I trust the source to show me what is real through peace, pattern, and inner knowing. Speak slowly. Let the words settle into the places that have waited too long for someone else to choose them. In the days ahead, Watch what happens when you stop feeding the silence with fear. Watch whether your body becomes calmer. Watch whether the pattern becomes clearer. Watch whether their communication returns with maturity or repeats the same confusion. Watch whether your own life begins to feel available again. Watch what creative energy rises when you stop orbiting the phone. These are signs that your field is returning to you. So when you hear, silence always means something deep, receive the purified meaning. Let it mean that silence is a mirror, not always a rejection. Let it mean that someone's absence can reveal your own healing edge. Let it mean that communication patterns matter. Let it mean that dignity must come before strategy. Let it mean that you can care deeply and still choose not to be controlled by waiting. Let it mean that the source is helping you become a safer home for your own heart. And now feel what has shifted. The silence is still there, perhaps, but it no longer owns the entire room. The phone may still be quiet, but your spirit does not have to become quiet with it. Their absence may still ache, but the ache is no longer allowed to define your worth. Your star family is near, helping you translate silence into wisdom, distance into discernment, and uncertainty into self-return. You are not waiting to become valuable. You are already valuable, even in the quiet. Before you scroll, take a moment to be part of the unity grid forming here. Drop one heart intention in the comments, something real. Then respond to someone else's with love or encouragement. This isn't content, it's collective Pleiadian reunion. Energy multiplies when hearts connect.